Tonight you have another opportunity. You have a new challenge, okay? And it's going to test your Raytown resolve. We know, and I want to dispel some of the rumors, and Mayor Bauer's not here tonight. He is out of town on business. But I can tell you that the school district and the city learned of the closing of the Y Tuesday of last week. Some say we've known for a month. We haven't known for a month. Okay, I have a member on the Raytown board. I have two people on the Raytown Y board. They had no news of the closure. Okay, so we found out last week. So that rumor's gone as well. The financial difficulties, we know they're out there for the Y. We're hearing about some of them. We have asked for the financials of the Y, and they are willing to give those to us so we can begin to look at that and see if there's any holes that we can exploit. And I will tell you that we are meeting with the YMCA, their CEO, their CFOs, the mayor, myself, potentially probably a board member from the school district, to see if we can do one thing first. Okay, the first step is to try and get them to push back the closing of the Y. Okay? What we're trying to ask for is anywhere from 3 to 6, give us 3 to 6 months, okay? Right. Give us 3 to 6 months to sit down and try to work out a solution. Now, I'm not saying the school district is going to come out and we're going to fund the operations of the Y, but we are certainly willing to be partners, and we're willing to look for ways to make a partnership work. The city, Pat Ertz is sitting right here, and he has a vested interest. I saw some other aldermen here as well. Everyone that's in city government or that is in the school district, and you sitting here, we all have a vested interest in what this Y means. And the city's going to take the lead. They're going to get out there with us. And we're all going to work together to try and find a solution. So the first step is to have a meeting and see if we can get somewhere, see what's out there. Now, the second step of that, well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. We know there's deferred maintenance on the Y. We need to know what those are. We can't begin to form a plan until we see what the financial implications might be. Now, next slide, please. We know what it means to the community. We know what it means to our seniors. We know what it means to the youth. I made this comment to the Board of Education. My boys go to Northfleet, okay? And I drive around our community on Saturdays and Sunday, and I have 10 elementary gyms. I have 3 middle school gyms. I have 2 high school gyms. I have 2 synthetic turf football fields, and I have acres of ground that could be used for youth sports. Nothing's happening. And I've had a problem with this for some time now, and something's got to be done for our kids. We know whether it's sports or some other activity, we know what activity does for kids. It benefits us in the education realm because kids learning responsibility and character, they're going to transfer that into the classroom. We know that. So it's time we get into the game, okay? And we're going to be there. We know what it does for our swim teams. Now, we're not in here saying that we got to shut down the swim program. So if someone's thinking that out there, that's not the case. But we are looking for Plan B for where we might practice and where we may call home in case nothing happens. We're going to have a Plan B. We know the rich tradition. I saw him sitting in here somewhere. I saw him right there. We know the rich tradition that coaches like Coach Azier and where's she at? Down here on this end. This young lady, Nancy Young, has done for our kids in the school district. So we're going to continue that. And Madam President over here, she knows that things are running through my head all the time, and I've got all these ideas and these visions about, but I'm looking at this. We need to get over the panic and the shock of the announcement, and it's time to sit down, roll up our sleeves, and be optimists about what it could become. Okay, we think it can be something. First thing that pops into my head, there's 60 kids over there in Head Start. Why can't there be 120? Why can't there be 240? Let's find a way to make that happen. We know how important early childhood education is. I think about a wellness program for 1,300 employees in the school district. That's 1,300 potential new members. We could double the membership of that Y. There's many different things that we could do, and it's time we sit down and see if we can get it done. And if we don't do that, all we lost. So that's where we're headed. We know what it does for the community. Sometimes I'm up at the Y at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I see the same silver sneakers in there every morning. And they're either walking, they're either riding the bikes. Most of the time, they're sitting down there reading the paper, drinking coffee, and talking all the way in the other room. Okay? Those folks are there every day, and we know what that means. And you know, if it means, and I'm going to say this, you know, if the city, don't hold me to this, Pat, but most of your community centers and most of those type of facilities are funded by either a county or a city through a sales tax, something like that. We need to think about that. It's time to think out of the box. If we've got to have a place like that, we've got to put our money where our mouth is. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get ready, we're going to have one in April. That's not the case. But I think that's things we have to consider and to make it happen, because we know membership alone will not sustain a facility like this, especially when you have deferred maintenance and you have those maintenance issues that are hanging over your head. There's got to be more than membership. And we need to look at that, but we need time. We need time to look at that. So we know what it does for the quality of life for our people, from our silver sneakers down to those kids that are in the daycare, which Josh Markley, who's 19 months old, is there 3 times a week because his mom's up there at step class. Or they call it, I don't know, Taibo or something. I call it Kung Fu. You know, she's going up to class up there to do kickboxing or something like that, which is great. And it's a community, and the friends that you make and meet in a community center become lasting friendships. They really do. So, what can we do? Let's get over the shock and panic. Let's talk about the partnerships between the community, the school district, and the city. I mentioned the discussions that we're going to have next week. But one thing we must do is, when the word came out, people get nervous and they look for comfort. And that comfort might be the Rock. Okay, it's a great facility, and folks can go over there. But I don't know, Carmen, does the Rock have a daycare? Okay, do they have a pool? Okay, there's some things the Rock can offer that the Y, or that they can offer and the Y can't. But we have got to stabilize the membership. We can't jump ship. And if we can get this extended to where we can talk about it, you need to, if you're a Y member and you've been thinking about leaving, you need to rethink it. Because if we go to get financed, these projects can be bonded. They can go out and we can bond it to either buy, if it's buying the building, leasing the building, doing maintenance on the building, that can happen. But it makes it much more difficult when you have to show a $500 loss of membership, and you got to show that revenue stream to get that good interest rate to bond these projects. And if you have that revenue stream, it makes it a lot easier. And people like Oppenheimer and George K. Baum and Edward Jones, they will bond projects like these. They'll bond them if they have backing. Membership and commitment is what it needs to be. Okay, I told you it was going to be brief. And you know everything I know to this point. And it's scary what the unknowns are. But know that we are not sitting back on our heels. We're going to, the city's behind us. We're behind the city. We are going to investigate every avenue we can, because we know how important this center is. And I've seen some of the employees coming in here. Let's think about the jobs lost in our city, and that's in the back of our minds too. And there's people that their livelihoods are at stake. And first of all, you talk about the people we know at the Y that run the Y. It's time to quit laying blame on people. It's time for us to pick up the pieces and figure out how we can put them back together and move forward. And with that being said, I said, walk this journey together. We'll begin to make that plan and what we need to do. But we have a whole lot of information that we need to get our hands on before we can determine what path that's going to be. But people like Mike Watkins is going to be there, who has a lot of historical perspective, because he was here in 1996 through 98 when that Y was built. Coach Azier is another one. We're going to rely on these people that have the historical perspective, and Rick Toady, who is on our board, who is a financial expert. to look for the opportunity. So that's where we're headed. And with that being said, we're going to put a mic up here, and if anybody has any questions or comments, I don't know how many questions I can ask other than answer what I told you here tonight. But I also have a mic here that I'll bring around too.
Name and rank.
I'm Jim Barnes, local citizen. Dr. Markley, one of the things I'd just like to recommend, and you touched on this when you were talking, is that when you meet with the YMCA, I think it'd be very important to issue a joint press release and get that out on electronic media, on the internet, in the newspapers, so people will calm down and feel like there's going to be some reasonable solutions to this, and that facility will be open for the family and youth and children of this community.
Great idea. And I see Danielle back there. Danielle, are you taking copious notes for me?
That's my girl. All right. Very good.
Karen Block. I'm a citizen and an employee of the school district. And other than not deserting the Y for another facility, what can we do?
I have a suggestion about that.
Microphone right there, sir. Introduce yourself.
My name is Tim Mabbitt, resident and member of the Y. Back to my alma mater for the first time since '65. Just moved back to the city. I was the guy who first got to sing that song over there. So it's all nostalgic. Now, I know a lot of people have already said, take my membership out. I'm wondering if we could establish some kind of a system whereby people who are willing would be willing to continue at the Y should it continue to function, and those who have already dropped their membership could begin in some way to form a list so that we would have a listing of all of the people that would be potential Y members or remembers. And I'm betting that if suddenly the membership of our Y went from 1,000 to 2,000, there would have to be serious reconsideration, because I don't believe the Y wants to shut down facilities. I just think they're in a bad financial position and they're needing to do something. And if we can make it profitable for them, I believe we could probably work something out. Certainly move toward the city program.
Yep, I agree, and I think we can.
So can we get some people together afterwards up here in the front and figure out how to do this?
I think we can do that. We could ask the Y for the information that they could give us of members, and kind of cross-check that with ones that are going to the Rock, and create a potential new member list at the end of the day.
And other people may join.
That's right. Pat?
Pat Ernst, Alderman with the City of Raytown, and I really appreciate you taking out from our usual CAC meeting that we get to go to on Thursday night. I do notice there's no pizza tonight, though, but and do invite everybody to attend. Okay, we're missing out. And I do look forward. I do know the mayor has been in touch, and there is going to be meetings with the Y to answer a multitude of questions we have about what exactly financially is going on, and perhaps we need to get over the fact that we were late to the table as finding out what was going on. If we could long enough to find out what we can do and what we can do together, I'm sure there will be some thinking outside the box and some new ideas will be put forth. What I would like to know, though, is there's a lot of people here that would be great. Is there a website or a place where people could sign up to find out information as it comes out? Because we definitely have a factual information problem, sometimes getting the word out correctly. And I was wondering if that's been started yet, or does it need to be started?
Well, I will say there is a Facebook page, and the only reason I know that is because my wife's told me about it. I don't do Facebook. However, we will post releases on our district website, the RQS district website, and you can go there to find out information, and we will issue press releases you got Michael Downing over here, Randy's sitting here in the front row, but we will try to keep our website up to date with what's going on coming from the city, and the city has a website as well, and they can put things on there. But joint releases with the same information is the key. We want to make sure that the facts are the same at both sides. So we'll make sure that we can get that done, I think. It's a good idea, though, Pat. Good idea. On this side, go ahead.
I'm Corey Prohaska. I'm a senior at Raytown High School. I've been on the swim team for 4 years. I've also played water polo for 4 years. Obviously, that Y means a lot to me and the rest of my team and all the teams, including South and Raytown. I know a big issue with the Y is money right now. I talked to Nancy Young the other day about not only is there city money, there's also federal money. Our First Lady, Michelle Obama, has a huge movement going on right now that's all about being well and being fit and being active. And so if we're able to get ourselves on the map and be recognized by the federal government or by anybody really, just getting someone out here that can draw attention to us, we can also draw money from the national government, not just our own city. As far as getting on the map, I know me and my friends on the team, we started, the night we found out about the Y, we started a Twitter hashtag. Darian came up with it. It's called #ForTheY. With about an hour and a half, we got over 1,000 tweets of people using that hashtag. And then, like you said, with the Facebook group, I just checked it a couple minutes ago, and we're up to 321 members.
Wait a minute, you checked it on your phone, didn't you?
Yeah. Not while you were talking, though. It was...
That's because he knows I signed his diploma.
Like I said, me and the teams, we came up with an idea. If anyone's heard of the Harlem Shake, real viral video on YouTube. We were wanting, obviously with the Y's permission, we have to get a written consent and stuff like that. But I took a 6-page thing of just a petition, I guess, to our school, to the Raytown High School. And on Wednesdays we get out at 12:45, obviously, so it wasn't a full day. And just in that about 5-hour day, we got over 80 signatures of teens that were wanting to participate in that video. So, I mean, the support is obviously there with 320 members, 80 teenagers. I mean, we have, obviously, the support that we need to get ourselves on the map. I just think the biggest thing that we can do is be seen. And once again, going back to Nancy Young, she also said Colin Jones, the Olympic swimmer that won the 100 free, he has a foundation that is made to provide workout facilities for any inner-city kids that don't have those facilities available to them. I know we're not really inner city, but I realized that if he got drawn attention to us and the Y was refusing to obviously keep their doors open, we had to go to the fact that we had to open a community center or use the building for some other reason that, with his help, or once again back to the federal money, we could go back to that. Once again, these are just suggestions. I'm just throwing out what we've come up with, what I've come up with talking to other people. What else? We also, along with our Harlem Shake video, we also wanted to put together a get-together, if not only to just celebrate the Y, but also get everybody together in one spot, have food, have games, have public officials there, local government officials, just get everyone there, news crews, get personal interviews of people, and just, once again, put ourselves on the map of what it means to people. I had an interview with 41 News just before practice the other day, explaining how much that Y meant to us, how much it meant to my coach. He's been there for 30 years, Coach. How long have you been there? 20, maybe 10. But I know it means 15 years old. Yeah, it means a lot. The people that have came out of that pool and the people that have came out of that gym have changed the city, have changed, the country, have had a huge impact on people. Robert Sturman, the third most decorated athlete in Missouri, was coached by him. He came out of that pool. And so, it's just not something that you can just shut down. It's not just some random facility. It produces wonderful, amazing people. So pretty much what me and the team came up with is getting ourselves on the map, talking to local businesses. I know Doughboys, for example, is a huge supporter of the swim team. They help us out all the time. Pretty much from Fair and Farms, any kind of local business we can get. I know money's not the easiest thing to come by. I know it's a $300,000 ventilation system we have to repair. But, if we can get ourselves out there, like I said, the Michelle Obama stuff, if we can get recognized, then I feel like people will be willing to donate and willing to put their time forth to try and help us out and not just let it shut down. So.
Put it down for the short person. My name is Kathy LeClaire. I am not technically a citizen of Raytown. I live on the east side of Kansas City, sort of halfway between the Independence Y and the Raytown Y. Needless to say, it's quite a shock to have both of the Ys within 4 miles of my house looking to be closing. It's upset me. I am disabled, and one of the only things I can do is get in the water. And so the Raytown Y is an incredible blessing. You know, we're being encouraged by the YMCA of Greater Kansas City to go to the Cleaver YMCA or the Linwood one. Gotcha, I gotcha. You know, I did a little quick study, and I looked at the crime rates of the 3 zip codes of Independence, of Raytown, and of Linwood Boulevard. And the 64128 zip code in Linwood shows a 2 to 3 times higher rate of homicide, robbery, and a 3 to 5 times higher rate of rape than the national average. If you come over here and look in Raytown, we have a 1/5 to 1/3 the rate of the national average. There's not a lot of people who are disabled, who are silver sneakers, who have families, who have young kids, who are going to want to drive to Cleaver at 70th and Troost or to Linwood Boulevard. I have set up a petition on, I'm sure some of you have heard change.org. There is a petition. I started it tonight, so it is new. Dave Jordan with Channel 5 interviewed me earlier, and I know that he will have the link to that petition. I will give it to any other stations or people who want that link. That's a great place for everybody to centralize signatures so that the YMCA gets a true flavor of how many people are affected. You know, if you guys end up looking at thinking about a big dream of a Raytown Community Center down the road, that doesn't help me a lot because I'm still going to be a non-resident. I'm going to be a non-resident. So this closing affects Raytown and Independence and Kansas City and probably many others too. So if you will look on the website for Channel 5 and any other channels that have it for that petition, let's hit change.org while these guys are also working on nuts and bolts and meetings. Let's get our signatures out there. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Brittany Allen. I'm a member of the Y and also a member of the Raytown community. I need to get together with her. A couple days ago, there's another petition started online at change.org to try and help our Y membership. I also have a hard paper copy here today in case anybody wants to sign it tonight. Started briefly this morning. Within, I'd say 15 minutes of just being out in the community, I managed to get about 15 signatures just off the top and kind of wanted this to be kind of the launching ground from where we start trying to save our community. And I've got a son that goes there, and wonderful swim class teacher over there who's learned tons. It's absolutely fabulous. And a little brother who wouldn't stop playing video games in the world. I made him come, and I don't think he's touched a video game in 2 months. When I come home, I constantly hear, when are we going to go to the YSCC? And I know both boys absolutely cried when I told them it was closing. So I absolutely do what we can to try and save our Y. But if anybody's interested in signing a petition, then I can leave it front here for everybody to see. But other than that, it's ready to go, and I'll see about maybe talking with you and merging the change.org account so there's just one, and showing how much it means to us.
I just want to say that the second lady had some very important information, because this does not just affect Raytown. We have handicapped students bussed in from Lee Summit for therapy in our pool. We have Rediscover sending some of their patients to our Y for exercise. So this really is a huge thing. And I don't want to cast aspersion, but I had a Y employee tell me today that they had planned a membership drive in May to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the opening of the Y. And I have to just ask, why the hell, if we're having this much trouble, hasn't there been, I haven't seen a membership in the 17 years I've lived in Raytown. I've never seen a membership drive. and I don't understand that. So there's a lot more going on here. The other thing is the Y membership is too expensive, and I don't know if there's ways of subsidizing that, but before I became a silver sneaker, I'm an old fart, you guys, I checked for a membership, and I think it was $58 for just for me. It didn't include my wife. And last night, Karen and I drove to Longview Community College. They have an exquisite pool, an exquisite facility. Senior membership there is $34. Well, I don't want you to go there, but I was really excited to hear you talk about the gyms you have available, because the Y gym is pathetic. I would like to see him take the basketball court, fill it with exercise equipment, so my wife will quit going to the place on 63rd Street because she can never get on the equipment. Maybe we need to go kind of sneak around that facility and find out, because they have some sort of a circuit to where, you do your exercise, you move on, you do your exercise, and you move on. So, and then maybe we can use some of the school gyms for the basketball program. These kids don't care where they go as long as it's fairly close by and they can get there. So there's all kinds of potential in this facility and in this community, and I'm really excited. I think this is probably, as scary as it is, one of the best things that's ever happened to Raytown.
My name is Barbara Thompson hi Jim. I didn't have a Sturman at my house, but I had two daughters that liked to swim, and they were members of the swim team at Raytown High School for 4 years. And I had a captain of the swim team for 4 years. And I have a daughter who still has a record that's up there on the high school walls. And so I have a heavy interest in seeing us keep the Y. I'm a member of the Y. I don't get discounted because I don't have that kind of insurance. I pay, and I pay as much as you pay to be a member there. And I'm glad to do it because the warm water pool there and the zero entry is something that I haven't found anyplace else. And so for people who are handicapped or old or stiff, that is something that we can't get someplace else. And you can go to other places and work out. And I know you can work out at Planet Fitness, I think, for $10, and I'm not advertising that, but you can't do water sports. You can't have the swim team practice there. And I have grandchildren that come from Woods Chapel Church in the summer for their swim program there, and I know they pay good money, or I hope they do, to come there. And so it does affect people beyond our school district and beyond our city district. So I think we have to do something to make a change here. This is my question to you, and that is, because we know Raytown is good to communicate, would it help for us to communicate with the Greater Kansas City Y Board before you meet with them next week by email and let them know that you're not standing there alone?
Let me address that. Now, I'm not one to start a flurry of correspondence, but I can't control you people. Being a former government teacher, and I have strong feelings about our Constitution, I am not going to ask you to forego your First Amendment guarantees. So if you want to send correspondence, and you know what, here's the thing, they won't be surprised by getting it. But if you want your voice to be heard, then I suggest you do that. Will that hamper our discussions? I don't think so. I think they know that this is not a popular decision. But I think you have the right to let them know that you don't agree with closing the Raytown Y. It's that simple. So, no, where'd you go, Byron? No. Okay. Not a problem.
They gotta know we resent them building a brand new facility downtown.
Yeah.
And I'm Dale Schatz, and I'm a citizen of Raytown, and I have a very important concern when I see letters to the editor using language, not necessarily swearing, but using demeaning language because we're angry. So if we are emailing the board, let's try to be civil, let's try to be rational, and let's act like we have some intelligence about the subject. Thank you.
Well said. Oh, yeah, let's go here, and then we'll get back over here.
This is on. My name is Angela True. My husband is here. My son is a junior at Raytown High School. He's on the swim team. He's on the water polo team. And of course, that's our biggest interest in the Y right now. The high schools will lose their practice facility. But not only that, I have a daughter that worked at the YMCA. We have been members at the Y for many years. Recently joined another gym because we are one of the guilty ones that left because of the prices and because of the inaccessibility of some of the workout equipment. And I agree with the person that said they need to clear that little basketball court off and put more workout equipment there, but this is not the forum for redesigning the Y. We need to be about just trying to save it right now, and I would rejoin in order to save it. If we all know how Raytown has struggled. My husband and I live in Kansas City, but we're in Timber Valley. We have a vested interest. We're in the Raytown School District, and we care about this city. We've stood by and watched it struggle as their downtown area has, in parts, I think, gone from bad to worse for whatever reason. And now we've got another third Walmart, I believe, coming into the area. Maybe we can hit them up for some money to invest into the community. And it's frustrating to see when the only community center in your area, it's like another nail in the coffin, a big, huge spike. This is an area that is, or a building that is so important to so many people and used for so many things, and it just makes Raytown so much less of a livable area. And we have chosen to stay in Timber Valley. My husband's retired from the fire department of Kansas City, so we could move now. But we like where we live, and I like the people in Raytown. They're just decent families, and this is just, it just feels like a slap in the face because I do think that they want to close that Y. I know it's financial, but they're building a big, huge new one downtown. And there's political clout to pull things into the inner city. There's money to pull things into Johnson County and way out by the racetrack. I don't know what we have here in Raytown except for if we all band together, write letters like crazy. I've already written to the mayor, Sly James' office, because he's just been on the news this week talking about how our youth need things in the east and the south part of the city to prevent things like that shooting. And we're going to close the Y. I mean, we're not going to close the Y, but it's going to be closing. So I just want to know if there's other suggestions of what we can do as parents and residents. Whose cage should we rattle? Who should we write to? Who should we be? I mean, tell me the name, the editor or the any news station. The night we heard about it, I got on all three websites of all the channels and wrote to them about it. I wrote to the mayor, Sly James. I didn't see the point in writing to the mayor of Raytown because he was well aware, I'm sure, of how we all feel.
That may be to come. Let's see if we can come to the table and see if we can get something done first. And if things fall upon deaf ears, then we may have to go another route. And we're prepared, we will be preparing to do that in case we need to.
Well, speaking of deaf ears, I'm loud enough where they could hear me. I just want to say, I'm going to keep it brief like Miss Kathy here. I, too, am not a citizen of Raytown. I have lived in Raytown. My son went to Raytown High School. Raytown has been my place of business for many years in the past. The YMCA has an absolute profound effect on my life. I couldn't have done it somewhere else. The reason why, because, and I think of a church up on Raytown Road, it says, no matter where you are in your journey, we're there for you. That's always the feeling I've had for the YMCA. No matter where you are, no matter where you are on your path of wellness, that Y has been there. It goes beyond just being a fitness center. It has to do with the people. Like I see some of the fine people in the audience here as part of that. Don and Amanda and Christine and Nancy. People have went out of their way. They have gone out of their way to make this facility like a family. It's not just a place you go. So I asked myself, what kind of profound effect can I have to make this go on? And you know, something just dawned on me when you were talking, or when this young man so wonderfully talked about, you know, the impact Washington would have on health and wellness. You know what? We have a YMCA named after a member of Congress here in Kansas City, the Cleaver YMCA. What would it hurt to maybe involve Mr. Cleaver in this? To get power in the level that we can to really make a profound impact to get this facility remain open for the people that it serves. I don't know if I have the solutions. I'm going to write, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make enough noise that I can, but it leave open to ideas, and I'd like to see the Y continue to be open. Thank you for listening.
My name is Shane Dunn, and my wife and I have both been members for the last 2 years. And before we joined the Y, we checked out a lot of other gyms, and the biggest difference between the Y and the other gyms is family. You can't shut that court down, man. They have kid time on that thing from like 6:30 to 7:30 every night, and it's full of little kids. And a lot of those guys that are in there playing basketball, their parents are in there working out too. My wife's going to have our due date's tomorrow. We need a place where we can take the kid, and they got daycare there. They'll watch the child for us while we work out. You know, I got a 10-year-old also, and he can come in there. I went to other gyms, and I'm not going to name the names, but they don't have any activities for children there. They're adult-only gyms, and the YMCA is a family center, and that goes from you know, little kids all the way up to your silver sneakers. I mean, it's welcome and opening to everybody, and you know, I want to see people put together all the good things that it has to offer. I mean, from the festival that they have at Halloween, and all the classes that you can take for free while you're in there, the daycare that's provided for you, and all that stuff, you know, is at very little cost, or if it's an additional charge, you know, for the additional activities that are for families. And you're not going to find that at any other gym. And it's, you know, if for all the petitions and the websites and whatever it is that you're doing, you know, like the guy said, you know, the negative talk that was in the paper, try not to do that. Just put it all together as more positive, more positive, more positive. And, you know, and if you can go to your doctors or whoever it is and try and put together, you know, a package, it's all about family. And, you know, that's probably the best avenue to get it. I mean, being negative or mad about it's not going to get anywhere. So, I don't know, all the good stuff, try and put it all together and present it as a package.
Hello, my name is Sheila Porter, and should have talked to you yesterday because I called and had a lot of choice words for the Y when I called. And when I got my letter, I was very, very, very angry. And so I went on their website and I got the email addresses for all of the board of directors, the foundation, the Greater Kansas City, the president, the vice president. So I will leave their email addresses at the Y if it'll make it a little bit easier for you to email them. And I will call them and tell them not to cancel my membership because I did, and I told you some more choice words.
Go ahead, sir.
My name is Paul Ertl. Lived here in Raytown about 14 years now or so. I have two questions, a comment, maybe two questions. I don't know. The first question goes back years ago. What sources of funds built the Y, federal, state, local tax funds?
You know, I've been looking through the board minutes, the discussions they've had with the school district back in, and luckily I have the historical side of it sitting right up here, and a former superintendent. And at some point, there was discussion with the schools about making a donation for basically the size of the pool. And the board at that time discussed it, but we can find no school district funds that were used other than agreements to pay for the rental of the pools. Now, as far as some of we know there were many donations from people, probably some of those folks sitting here in the crowd. But those are some of the things we'll have to find out as we work through this process.
I'd be interested because some of them, if there are any federal grants that may have some strings attached.
That we don't know, and hopefully those are some of the things we can find out.
The second question I have really is, if the YMCA cannot recover to the point where they want to continue, they want to lock the doors and walk away, what do you have in mind, the possibilities beyond that?
That's a question I can't answer right now. That's why we mentioned earlier that we need to go in and speak with the Y, with the leaders of the Y. We need to have a good understanding of what their financials say, to see what their operating costs are, to see what their revenue streams are, to see where the deferred maintenance and what the price tag is on that. Put all those things together and then work with our partners at the city, with the community, let the community know this is what it is, and see what we can come up with from there. We're in the very early stages.
Thank you.
My name is Theresa Thompson, and I live in Kansas City, but Raytown School District. Many of my neighbors, coach-like, have voiced their opinion, and I'm not going to read them, but we didn't know what to expect, so I just brought what we thought and what effect the Y would have on our community.
My name is Mike April, and I'm a citizen of Raytown, and retired and member of the Y. Just a little bit of a history that maybe help answer part of the gentleman's question. And I retired from, which was originally Missouri Public Service, right? Actually, we worked in the building over there where we were going to originally have the meeting. The company donated that land to the Y. And I don't know whether the Y has ever, as part of this, have talked to the Green family as part of what they're doing, but I'm sure they would like to have some input on that too. Okay, good. And I worked for that gentleman's picture that's up there at Richard City Green many years ago. So his son was involved in making sure the land got donated as a community event. Myself and a lot of others in this community put together with the Y, campaign groups went out and got donations throughout the community. Myself and many others donated money to help build the Y. And I know I was in a meeting with Mike Watkins and Gene Dooley at the time about making sure we got the pool big enough so we can accommodate the swim teams, and my two younger children swam on Raytown South team. But I guess, all of these other funds, the Missouri Public Service at that time, which is now part of KCP&L, citizens in the community put money into this. And I got a letter, I dug it out today, about, the Y's thanking me for my contribution and that they're going to serve this community well into the 21st century. So I don't know whether 12 and a half years is well into the 21st century, but it's pretty disappointing to hear that. I hope that, that community effort then can be continued, as Dr. Markley said, and that we can at least recoup or keep those equity funds that the community put in it and the company put in it for the future of whatever we can do.
Hi, my name is Alexandria Clark, and I'm a junior at Raytown High School. I've been at the Y since I was probably 4 years old. It's where I started early learning. It's where I learned to swim. It's where my little brothers learned to play baseball. And when I look at the Y right now and what's going on, I don't think about what's going on just right now, but I think about our future. That's where my kids will learn to swim. That's where my kids will attend an early learning center. I think about where I first learned to play soccer and what the Y has been to my family. Right now, what's going on with the Y isn't only upsetting, it's kind of a look into my future. I worked for the Y. I've swam at the Y with the swim team at Raytown High School, and it's a very important place for not only me and not only my family, but for Raytown as a whole. And I think it is where I learned what community was, because I know that when I worked for the Y and when I attended the Y for different reasons, it's where I found part of a family who's helped me through a lot of hard times. And taking that away, I kind of feel like is taking away a sense of community.
Hi, I'm Nicole Anderson. I lived in Raytown for 6 years. I have 2 kids go to high school here. My son has been in swim meet for 3 years. He'll be going to 4. And he has mental illness. Some of our family has mental illness. My son was picked on all his life, every day. And when I came here, and they put I met Coach Azier, all the teammates, no matter how he reacted, they calmed him down and made him go home and work. He'd go practice hard in the morning and afternoon, and he would get wore out and ready to knock out and go to sleep and get up and go practice in school and keep on going. And it really changed his life. The kids changed his life. I really like how Raytown did to him, and I really hope we can keep this going because this is a wonderful town. And the YMCA and the coaches and schools changed my son's life.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Nelson, and I'm alderman with the city of Raytown. And I think that really glad to see all these different people here because you all have a concern and you all care about the issue at hand. Just asking you to kind of take it easy and make sure that you kind of go through the procedural steps. There will be meetings that will occur, and the information that Dr. Markley has said and others about getting the information out, making sure that you understand and what the next steps were and involving you in those steps. One of the things I did want to offer up, probably a little bit longer down the road, is that when I was executive director of Shepherd Center, we had, in 2006, we did a community center study for the city of Raytown. So we already have type of feasibility study that's already here, kind of been sitting in dust for a while because I've been working on this since 1999, but there is a possibility there maybe down the road once we get different parties involved and different entities involved that we can, eventually have a community center for Raytown where everybody does get involved in it and everybody does care, and I think that's what you showed here tonight.
My name is Robert Atkins. I'm a Raytown resident. I used to be the director of the old Raytown Y off 75th Street. And I would tell you all, this is incredible what I see. When I raised the funds for the building that we now are talking about, we never had this many people show up for anything, did we? Never. So I see this and I go, okay, the core values of the Y: caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Those are the 4 core keys. So when you see those colors, the Y, they mean something. I think they've changed them a little bit since I was there, but that's okay. I still remember them. And what I want you to think about is you guys showed a lot of responsibility to your community. Now I have some concerns about what the Greater Kansas City Y is going to do. I also know how the Greater Kansas City Y kind of looks at our town because I sat in those meetings. And that really concerns me when I know how they treated the Y then, and now we're getting treated now, okay? So I do have some concerns. So respect seems to be one of those things that I have an issue with from their end. But that's not to be said. That's my problem, not yours. But I want you all to think about, as you're looking out and going, okay, what can we do? We've got a lot of responsibility. We got our community that's at stake. We got our kids at stake. We've got, and I think when you think about the Y and what it does for us, there's a lot of things that were done for how that building was built. First of all, there's a big, huge daycare facility there. The daycare facility is built with little toilets in mind, little sinks in mind, so those little guys have like a place where they should go, okay? Then you've got the fitness facility. That's where you think about the Y, you think about fitness, so that's there. Then you got the basketball court, and yeah, I always kind of thought it was a little bit small too, but I couldn't win that battle, okay? You've got the community room. The community room is something that's special. That was put together by our community. The Y didn't want that. I will tell you that straight up. They didn't want that. That was our building, okay? The teen locker rooms. There are 4 locker rooms in that building. I know you say there's only 2. No, there's 4. There's the teen locker room and the members locker room. The teen locker rooms were put together by the city, or by the school district, because the Y said, we're not paying for those. I also know the Y said that we're only going to put together 4 lanes to this pool, because that's all the church membership requires. And there's 6 lanes. You were part of those meetings, you know that.
2 lanes, we can put it.
Was that what it was? I knew there was a 2 or 4 or something. I remember that discussion. I remember Alice Batty was a huge, huge supporter of the Y. Joy Club. The warm water pool, I don't believe there's another one in the city, okay? There's something special about that warm water pool that a lot of people don't know. The Arthritis Foundation requires a certain temperature of a pool. If you go over to the Longview Rec Center, which actually I'm supposed to be coaching right now at that, you go over there and the temperature of the pool is much too cold for our seniors to get into. And if you go and do your exercise, I feel sorry for that person that's going to be the director over there, because they're going to have their head bit off because the pool's too cold. So there is requirements that our city has that most people don't know about. So as you look at what we're involved with, I mean, I see high schoolers here. I see some of the seniors here. I see a lot of the people that I was involved with back in 1996 when we were putting this thing together. And man, I really wish you guys would have been here then, because it would have made my fundraising job so much easier. But congratulations to us all.
Anybody else? I know we have a few more. Come on up and coach negotiation. Yeah, be fine.
Hello, my name is Stacy Fox. I've been in the community for a very long time, and I love Raytown. I've been here since I was 7th grade, graduated from Raytown. My kids graduated from Raytown. I've worked at Thriftway and Price Chopper, and this is just not a community, it's a family. I have so many friends. I've watched every children in here grow up. I've watched teachers. I've had teachers, and my children have had teachers. I have a petition here of 125 people at Price Chopper that go to the Y every day. That's their routine. They go to the Y, they work out, they relax, they spend time at the Y, they have friends that go to the Y. I'm hoping and praying everything works out and we keep the Y open. My kids swim at the Y. My kids learned how to swim at the Y. Nancy, our coach, is the most awesome person in the world. My kids love to go to her. She's their counselor. I'm just hoping everything works out, and I will do whatever I can to keep it open. Thank you.
I just would like to share a couple things about this city. we all share one thing. We love this community. We all have that in common. There's a couple of perspectives I'd like to share with you. You know, as a teacher for 35 years, the first thing you learn when you walk in the classroom is that you're never, ever going to know exactly the difference that you make in those kids' lives. You know, give them a test, they pass the test, they come in and come out. It's not like a football game where there's a score at the end. You never know the real difference in the classroom. Every teacher believes that they make a difference. And that's what a lot with this community, what we're here about today. It's the things that you can't see, that you really don't know. I bet that you're all here because you have had some experience with the Y probably doesn't know about, that made a difference to you. And that's what this whole thing is all about. When the Y came here, they were here before I came 42 years ago. I've been coaching 42 years. So they've been here for a long time. We've had a great swim team. We have a swim team for two reasons. We have a school district, superintendents that kept our team alive. And there were times when money was tough to come by, they could have dropped it. And it cost a lot of money for the school district for us to have a swim team. But they kept it alive. We wouldn't have the swim team today if it wasn't for the Y. They built the Y, we had a swim team. But they came to Raytown at a time when Raytown was a booming place. It was the place to move. And it's a little bit different today. I don't know. I tried to find out the figures. The closest figure that anybody could come up with is that probably maybe as many as 60% of the Y membership today is on what they call a scholarship program. It's a partial membership because they can't afford to pay the full, almost $700 a year per person membership, and that's a lot of money. And truthfully, I doubt that there are very many people in this community that could afford $700 a year for an individual membership. The fact that they want to leave because Raytown is becoming a poor community. Let's be honest, our houses have gone decline. It's not the same as it was. And truthfully, it's a lot more attractive, I'm being honest, to build a $40 million Y downtown for people that can afford to pay for it and pay the memberships. So they came to us when we were booming, and they're leaving when we're struggling, okay? But we're not struggling because you're here with exactly what Dr. Markley said. You care. And because we care, we can keep it. It's a good facility. Now, I got to tell you, there are a couple problems. You know, when they built the facility, it's only 15 years old. It's not like the other two they're closing. They've been in for decades and decades. You know, there was on Monday, when I went in on Monday, the snow was melting off the roof. We had a waterfall coming down the side because the roof leaks. It needs to be fixed, and it's not going to be cheap. And the engineering firm that they hired to build that building was inferior. I'll tell you, because they burnt 3 motors out. It cost $60,000 for a motor. It takes a crane to put them on top of the building. Am I pretty close to that, Mark? Is that right? It's pretty close. They were under warranty. It's not under warranty anymore, is it? It's a tough fix. This is the battle. It's a lot easier to walk out and go downtown and build a $40 million Y when you have lots of people with the money and bankers are going to give you the land, etc. And it's a different demographics. This is our community. We care about it. And I will tell you, truthfully, you know, we've had a great aquatics program. Truthfully, at Raytown, I don't think that Raytown High School, any other team can say they've had the success of the swim team. It's not about the hundreds. We've had almost 100 all-state swimmers, 14 state champions, 2 state record holders. That's not what it's about. It's about the same thing that the teachers care about in the classroom. It's about the Andrew's mother that came out and told you, you know, Andrew's not going to be an all-state swimmer. Andrew's a different human being because he joined the swim team. I think you saw Corey get up. You know, I didn't tell them about the Y closing. They learned on their own, and that's how quick. That's the leadership that we develop on the swim team. These people become different human beings because of their experience. That's why, yeah, it's a lot of money to have a swim team. It's a lot of money to have a Y or a community center. And it's going to take all of us to do it. And it's going to be a challenge. I don't think that Y has to close just because, that building has to close because the Y doesn't want to be a part of our community anymore. I mean, let's face it. When I was on television, the guy that followed me, Mr. Bird, David Bird, got up and said, he explained how they have 7 Ys in Kansas City that are all making money. 3 that aren't, so they're going to close the 3 that aren't. But Y doesn't make money, then we're going to close them. That's what he said. That's okay. It's our job to pick up the ball. There are a lot of great ideas, and we can do it. You have a school district. You probably have, not probably, you have one of the greatest leaders in the Midwest. I'll tell you, and I mean the Midwest. I'm not talking about Kansas, Missouri. I'm talking about a lot of states. And I believe that we, in city government, that we have a board of aldermen that really cares, that's willing, but we need your help. It's Dr. Mark he said the first minute, you are the one that will make the difference. I do believe, that we have the minds to do it. It's the desire. And that's what this is all about. Thank you for coming today. From my perspective, I will tell you this why, and I want to tell Mark, I really would like you to relate this to people downtown. They heard my version on television. I know it wasn't probably the most poetic. But, I'll tell you this. If they knew just some of the stories that I could tell about the swim team that was there because your facility was there, I really wonder if they really could walk off and leave it. If the Y is truly, truly everything they say they are, golly, I couldn't believe they could just walk up and say, we'll build a $40 million one downtown where there's no kids downtown. That's what it's all about. If you want, I got 3 folders full of letters. And those letters wouldn't be in my folder if it wasn't for the YMCA. It's true. I'll give you credit for it. So this community is going to keep it. Dr. Markley, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for coming.
Excuse me, I'm Alderman Mock with the City of Raytown. Foremost, a citizen of Raytown, member of the Y. I don't participate quite a bit up there like I should. My wife is a 6 a.m. teacher at the Y. And thank you, to the employees. Nancy, she's still here. Thank you too, Nancy. I learned about this Monday evening. Monday evening after my wife got a call from an employee at the Y telling her that they were going to close. The city didn't tell me. No one else told me. Within just a few minutes, I called the mayor to ask him why. He explained to me it was simply almost just over a week ago on a Friday night that he was called by upper management, whatever, to have an emergency meeting. He called Mahesh Sharma in to that emergency meeting also. That night, I think it was Tuesday of next week that you had learned about it. Then on, and then to the employees. And I, myself, and I know each one of our aldermen that I have talked to will step forward for this and do what we possibly can for this YMCA. My wife, speaking of stepping forward, her 6 a.m. class had told her that after the 12th, they had no place to go. She has told them since that she would open up her studio to them to come to to her 6 a.m. class. Now the evening class, as my sister called me and told me last night, pretty well chewed my butt, letting me know there wasn't a place to go. And I'm hoping they do look at to an extension to keep the Y open. There has to be more time to come up with a solution. And it's a solution that we do need. Thank you.
Good evening, Mark Hewlett, father of Keegan, father of Killian, former executive director of the Raytown Y from 2000 to 2004. And we hear you. We hear you. We hear your hearts, we hear your minds, and we're here because we wanted to hear that. We're here because we want this Y to be open. We do. And we're here to work with the city, we're here to work with the school district to figure out a way and find a possible way to make that happen. And that's sincere. And many of you know me, and I've never lied to you before. We're going to work hard to figure this out. God bless you.
Okay, did we miss somebody else? One? Come right on up here. It's almost like The Price is Right. Come on.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I moved into this community about 10 years ago, and when I moved here, I did go to the Y. I've been a full paid member since then. I had one son who used to work there. He attended high school here. He didn't swim. I have a daughter. We just attended a swim track. They just had a celebration because she's on the swim team this year, and so I got the news. I'm sure it went through the grapevine real quick that the Y was closing because she swims there. And I just wanted to say I was shocked at first to hear that they were closing. I was shocked, about the options that we have, as far as what we'll be able to do, because I have been a full paid member. And it was like, what do you do, if you don't have a choice? But I guess, you do have a choice, and I was glad to see when I first came to the community, the reason I joined the Y and the reason I continued to be a member of the Y is because I wanted my kids to have some place that they could go so they weren't on the streets, so they had a place that they could be and they felt welcome, And in truth, the basketball court was small, but it was there for them, and the community, it was open for the children. I've been to a lot of different Ys, or not Ys, but sports, the one Midtown. They've been trying to solicit me to get membership there for a long time, but I felt like they don't have a place for the kids. You don't have a place to take your children, and it's not really for the kids. They do have tennis court and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't really geared for children. So, and it didn't make it feel like a community. So this did the Y does make it feel like a community. My kids go to school here. I live in the community. I'm a resident of Raytown. And so, I could go pick them up. They go from school to swim practice to school, and I go pick them up. They can walk home if they need to. So it would be a shame to see the Y close. And, and I know that the attraction is downtown because they've got all the new, with the condos and everything that's moving downtown. I've even thought about it. Once my kids get grown, I want to move down there too. But right now, this is a community, and what keeps me here and keeps me grounded is the fact that I have family here and I have children here. And this is where you raise children. You don't raise children down on asphalt, concrete areas. You raise children, where they have grass and backyards, and that's what I like about it here. So anyway, I just wanted to add my 2 cents. Thank you.
Dr. Markley, I promise I won't talk long. I'm Julie Wishy, and I couldn't sit still, and I had to get out of my seat. I have lived in this town since I was 8 years old, and now I'm 53. So I've lived here a long time. Couldn't think of any better place I'd rather live than here. Watched a lot of things change over my lifetime. But the one thing I will tell you for sure, and what I'm hearing from the hearts of the people here, is that we have got to keep things in this town that keep our young families and our kids in this town, because people are moving away because we don't have anything to offer. So this Y represents something. It's a symbol to the folks that live in this town, more so of family and what we can do for kids and stuff. We've got to keep something like this, whether it's the Y name, or whether it's a community center that we decide we're all going to pitch in and do, just like Coach Azier and some of the other folks did when we very first built the thing. Something's got to stay here, and we have enough heart and enough love for this community that we have got to pull together and do whatever it takes. And I just wanted to say that it's made my heart feel really happy to know that there's still folks in this town that feel the way I do. Thank you.
There's going to be a meeting between officials from the school district, the city, and the YMCA to begin discussions first, figure out how we can keep this thing open for a little bit longer. Well, let us do that first, and we'll go from there. But thank you for clearing that up. I don't know, where did Julie go? Oh, say something here? Okay. I'll bring it to you.
My name is Paul Hirsch, and I've been in this community for over 30 years. I taught school here for 30 years. I retired in 1988. So I'm the oldest silver sneaker here, probably. How many of us are silver sneakers? You want to say our deal? We are the silver sneakers. Repeat after me now, come on. We are the silver sneakers. The mighty silver sneakers. Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are. So we tell them. We're the silver sneakers, the mighty silver sneakers, from the Raytown YMCA. And we do not want them to go away. My boys swam on the swim team back when they was on 75th Street. He had to get up 6:30 in the morning and go practice swimming. Then he'd come home, go to school, work at McDonald's till 1 o'clock in the morning, get up 6:30 the next morning, go practice swimming. My daughter did about the same thing. She was on the swim team. And if it wasn't, they were the only group around that had wrestling back in those days. There was no wrestling in the high school. My boy got to wrestle on the wrestling team, threw up before every meet, but he got to wrestle and he did pretty good. And he was on the dive team at Raytown South, took 6th in the state. 6th ain't very good, don't get a ribbon or anything, but 6 out of the whole state's pretty good for me. So we've been a member of the YMCA since 1960. And back then, membership for a family was $150. I know it's gone up a lot since. But this thing, if they don't have the silver sneakers, where are they going to get the silver? Us silver sneakers ain't going to go downtown. They're $700 a piece right there. So I'm going to close on that. That's my feelings.
Okay, well, I appreciate everyone coming. My spies in the audience told me at one time there was 280 people in this room, which I think makes a statement, but there needs to be twice that. And you need to tell your community members and your friends that all is not lost, and we're trying to find solutions. We're trying to find solutions, and we know you heard Mark speak, and they're open to seeing what those solutions might be. But I think your presence here tonight has an impact that will go a long way. And I know Mark will take that back, and we'll certainly let the folks at the Y know how much this means to all of you, how much it means to you, how much it means to me as your superintendent whose sons participate in the YMCA, and whose family participates in the YMCA, and what it means to the youth of our community. So, again, be patient. We will get you the information as we get it, and let us walk through the process. Let us go down that path and see what we can get done. Thanks for coming. Appreciate all of you. Have a good night.